Hollywood has always been about glamour, lights, and legends. But behind the cameras, things aren't always as shiny as they seem. For every star adored on screen, there were crews, co-stars, and directors who secretly dreaded working with them. Some were egos gone wild, others were perfectionists who made life miserable for everyone around them, and some simply couldn't handle the pressures of fame. Today, we're revealing the shocking stories of 12 classic stars who were hated on set by everyone, the names that made directors groan, co-stars roll their eyes, and crews pray for the day the cameras stopped rolling. You may love them on screen, but trust me, off-screen, they were pure chaos. 1. Bette Davis. Brilliant, but brutal. Bette Davis is one of the greatest actresses Hollywood ever produced. Her talent was unmatched, her screen presence magnetic, and her dedication to her craft legendary. But her brilliance came at a cost. She was notoriously difficult on set. She clashed with directors over the smallest details, insisted on performing scenes her way, and refused to compromise her artistic vision. Co-stars often complained that she was manipulative, sarcastic, and prone to outbursts. Even longtime collaborators admitted she could be merciless, and crew members dreaded her sharp tongue. Yet, this same intensity made her performances unforgettable. Her difficult behavior was inseparable from her genius. Hollywood may have hated working with Bette Davis, but the world could not stop watching her. 2. Marlon Brando. The rebel who made everyone miserable. Marlon Brando changed acting forever, but he did it while driving nearly everyone around him crazy. Directors struggled to control him. Co-stars often felt ignored or disrespected. Crew members called him unpredictable, stubborn, and at times completely impossible. Brando refused to stick to schedules, frequently rewrote lines, and demanded extreme conditions on set, from food to lighting to privacy. His obsession with authenticity pushed the boundaries of filmmaking, but it also created chaos. On The Godfather, he reportedly showed up with a puffed-up cheek to appear older, and everyone had to accommodate his whims. Marlon Brando was a genius, but anyone who worked with him learned quickly. Genius comes with a hurricane of headaches. 3. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford is remembered for her iconic roles in glamorous life, but on set, she could be ruthless. Her obsession with perfection led her to berate anyone who didn't meet her standards. Co-stars, crew, and even costume designers were not safe from her scathing critiques. Stories from Mildred Pierce and other productions describe a star who could deliver a flawless performance while simultaneously humiliating everyone around her. Some called her manipulative, others feared her wrath. Crawford demanded control over every scene, every shot, and every movement, often pushing those around her to the brink. For Joan Crawford, there was no compromise. Either the world worked her way or it faced her fury. 4. Elizabeth Taylor. Drama on and off the set. Elizabeth Taylor dazzled audiences with her beauty and charisma, but behind the scenes, she could be insufferable. Known for diva-like demands, she expected luxury, constant attention, and unlimited patience from everyone around her. On the set of Cleopatra, she reportedly delayed shooting for weeks, demanded extreme accommodations, and refused to compromise on costumes or makeup. Crew members were exhausted trying to meet her whims, and co-stars admitted she could be manipulative and temperamental. Even directors who admired her talent admitted that working with Elizabeth was like walking on eggshells. Her charm might have captivated audiences, but on set, Taylor's presence was often a source of tension. 5. John Wayne. Tough guy with a terrible temper. John Wayne embodied the rugged American hero, but off-camera, he was notorious for his temper. Co-stars described him as arrogant and demanding, with a no-nonsense attitude that could quickly turn into verbal attacks. Wayne's insistence on doing things his way frustrated directors and crew alike. He rarely tolerated mistakes, and his sense of authority sometimes led to tense confrontations on set. While fans adored his stoic, heroic on-screen persona, the truth was that working with John Wayne could be exhausting, stressful, and intimidating. He may have played the cowboy everyone wanted to be, but his colleagues often wished he'd stay in front of the camera rather than managing everyone's work behind it. 6. Marilyn Monroe. Fragile but frustrating. Marilyn Monroe is one of the most beloved icons of Hollywood, but her on-set behavior caused endless headaches. Monroe struggled with confidence, anxiety, and the pressures of fame, which translated into repeated delays, forgotten lines, and erratic moods. Directors and co-stars often described her as unreliable, though always captivating. She would sometimes show up late, repeat takes endlessly, or need extensive coaching just to deliver lines convincingly. Crew members grew frustrated, and some called her temperament manipulative. Marilyn's vulnerability made her human, but her challenges tested everyone on set, showing that charm alone couldn't smooth over Hollywood's production demands. 7. Orson Welles. Genius or nightmare. Orson Welles created cinematic history with Citizen Kane, but his genius came with chaos. Welles frequently rewrote scripts, overruled directors, and disregarded schedules. His obsession with innovation often clashed with the structured, deadline-driven world of film production. Co-stars and crew members both admired and feared him. While they respected his talent, Wells could be mercurial, argumentative, and exhausting to work with. Delays and production headaches became the norm whenever he was in charge. His brilliance is undeniable, but Orson Welles proves that even cinematic genius can come wrapped in a storm of frustration for everyone involved. 8. Greta Garbo, the silent storm. Greta Garbo was mysterious, beautiful, and intensely private. On set, her behavior could be equally enigmatic and off-putting. She reportedly refused to socialize, rarely engaged with colleagues, and had a reputation for icy detachment. Co-stars found her aloof, and crew members struggled to connect with her. Any mistake could lead to sharp reprimands or sudden withdrawal. Garbo's talent was unparalleled, but her lack of warmth or approachability created tension on almost every production she joined. Her legendary performances were admired worldwide, yet the cost of working with Garbo was enduring stress and uncertainty for everyone else on set. 9. Marlene Dietrich, glamorous but impossible. Marlene Dietrich's elegance and charisma made her a star, but her demands made life hell for her collaborators. She was notorious for dictating costumes, lighting, and even camera angles. Crew members often described her as imperious and unyielding. On several productions, Dietrich's insistence on perfection slowed filming and led to tension with directors who had to balance her whims with practical needs. Co-stars admitted she could be cold, sarcastic, and difficult to please, leaving an aura of anxiety over the entire set. While audiences adored the glamour she projected, the reality behind the scenes was far less glamorous. 10. Charlie Chaplin, the perfectionist torturer. Charlie Chaplin's genius as a director and performer is undeniable, but he was infamous for being brutally demanding. Chaplin would shoot the same scene dozens or even hundreds of times, regardless of the stress it caused others. Actors were exhausted, crew members frustrated, and even seasoned professionals admitted that Chaplin's obsession with perfection made him unbearable at times. He was charming in public but ruthless in private, believing that the final product justified any personal suffering. Many walked away from his sets, exhausted and angry, but the results on screen, of course, were unmatched. 11. Vivien Leigh, diva temper meets mental struggles. Vivien Leigh, remembered for Gone with the Wind and A Streetcar Named Desire, was a perfectionist whose dedication sometimes made her a nightmare on set. She battled mental health challenges that influenced her behavior, causing unpredictable mood swings and sudden emotional episodes. Co-stars and crew often found it exhausting to accommodate her needs, while directors had to constantly adjust schedules and plans. Leigh's brilliance on screen was undeniable, but behind the scenes, she was a tempest. Working with her required patience, understanding, and nerves of steel. Her struggle is a reminder that genius and personal challenges often coexist in complex, difficult ways. 12. Howard Hughes, billionaire and nightmare director. Howard Hughes may be best known as a business magnate and aviator, but his involvement in films left a trail of frustration. Hughes's obsessive attention to detail, combined with eccentric behavior, drove directors, actors, and crew members to the edge. On set, he demanded constant rewrites, multiple takes, and personal control over even minor details. Crew members often called him impossible, and even seasoned Hollywood professionals struggled to manage his whims. Despite his wealth and influence, Hughes' behavior created one of the most stressful production environments of his time. For everyone involved, working with Howard Hughes was less about creativity and more about surviving his relentless standards. Hollywood's golden age is remembered as a time of glamour, charm, and unforgettable performances. But for every on-screen legend, there was a storm of conflict behind the cameras. These 12 stars remind us that fame often comes with egos, demands, and a temperamental streak that can make production hell. While audiences adored their performances, co-stars and crews endured a very different reality, one filled with tension, frustration, and moments of pure exasperation. Talent alone doesn't make a workplace easy. And sometimes, the legends we love the most were the same people everyone secretly dreaded working with. Next time you watch these classic films, remember, behind the magic of the screen were personalities so intense, chaotic, and unyielding that surviving the set was a victory all on its own.